Welcome to Nightly Highlights, your audio and video companion to the nightly news. Each episode is a shortcut to exciting campus events and helpful resources. Perfect for a quick break or your daily commute to campus. We'll keep you in the loop with all the essentials. Catch up with what's happening on the Marian University Indianapolis campus. I'm Karen Candlish, your Dean of Students, and this week I'm joined by Jacob Mizera and Dr. Jeremy Jones. Welcome, guys.
Karen, how are you?
Yes,
Good.
Thank you. Great to see you. God bless you.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you're both here. So Jacob is a sophomore philosophy pre-med major from Springfield, Illinois. He's the vice president of Young Americans for Freedom, a St. Luke scholar, and Springfield Right to Life member. Yeah, did I get it?
Yeah, you got pretty much everything that's relative. I'm involved in tons of things, but those are the important ones.
I find that our students usually are involved in lots of things.
Tons, for sure.
And then Dr. Jeremy Jones serves as an associate professor of primary care in the Wood College of Osteopathic Medicine. You have degrees in chemical engineering and osteopathic medicine from the University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State University, respectively. You're in your 5th year at Marian University as an employee, and you serve as the faculty advisor of both Young Americans for Freedom and the Catholic Medical Association. And you're also a dad. You have...
Oh, yes. So I have 3 girls. I don't know anything about boys. So, I mean, I'm a pediatrician, so I know enough about boys to be dangerous. But I have 3 girls. Gemma Rose, she's 16. Mary Agnes, she's 14. Lucy Cecilia is 11. And they're all developmentally appropriate for their age. As a pediatrician, I have to say that. So they're normal. They're normal girls. So
I love it. I love it so much. That's amazing. All right, are you guys ready for this?
Let's do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So before we get into event highlights, I want to just ask, what's your favorite thing about being a part of Young Americans for Freedom?
The biggest thing for me was I already knew about the organization before I joined it, and I actually didn't know that Marian had a faction of YAF until I got on campus, and actually I just found out at the beginning of last year. So, because I'm a sophomore. And as soon as I entered, I was all about it because in my family, we're more politically active. I just came from a much more politically active family. And not even so much as particularly where you sit politically, but it's almost just be involved. Because as Americans, we kind of have a civil duty, in a sense, to get out and vote. Elect our politicians as they pertain to the values that we have. So as a Catholic, I have Christian religious values that I want to make sure reflect the policies that are enacted in this country. So I wanted an organization, and me being involved all the time, I always wanted an organization that really kind of centered themselves around the idea of getting out there, getting politically active, getting involved in our politics, because it's very important. And you're seeing a lot of students on campus and even college campuses around the country that are just not voting, not getting out there and being involved, not participating in their civil duty. So one of my favorite things about being in YAF is just being around like-minded people that see the importance of getting out there, being involved in politics, getting involved in all of these different things, because, you know, if you don't get out and vote, you really can't be too upset about the state of the country.
Sure.
So whatever good or bad happens, you can't attribute any credit for it at all. So if the economy's in really bad shape, well, you didn't get out and vote. So you kind of get what you vote for, but you also get what you don't vote for. And that's very true. So that's one of my favorite things about YAF.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about the organization. And we're also completely not leaning towards any specific party. We're free speech enthusiasts. We love free speech.
Yeah.
So we are accepting of all ideas, and we believe that every idea should be heard, every voice should be heard. That's how you have civil discussion in a society, and that's how you can have a society that's cohesive and works as a melting pot, and that's exactly our goal.
Dr. Jones, anything to add?
I would agree. The phrase Jacob used, the civil discussion, a civil discourse, I feel that the Young Americans for Freedom just has an arena to offer that, not just here at this campus, but on campuses throughout the United States. And so it's really important to at least bring up these types of discussions on particular points that are happening in our local, our state, or our national legislatures, because you need to have an understanding of why people have the talking points that they do on these topics, so that you can be able to determine, is this something that I highly value? Is this something that I value the most when I'm looking at a candidate, or when I'm looking at particular issues that will affect me as an individual or as a caregiver in my family?
I think the civil part of that, right, civil discourse, really aligns with Marian University's Franciscan values. And I think that's huge. And I love what you're saying about Young Americans for Freedom being the focus is not so much what you value or what you're voting for, but that you're getting out and participating, which I think is really important too.
100%. And I would also say that, again, going back to the point that you get what you do vote for, and a lot of people don't see the importance of getting out and electing officials that align with your views, regardless of the views. But in order to get to that point, you need to establish a society that is able to have those conversations.
Sure.
And our generation, my generation specifically, has a real problem with getting out and talking to people because we love technology.
Yeah.
You see how technology is kind of, I mean, you can just, we don't have to worry about those big problems because we can just stare at a screen all day.
Yeah.
I absolutely can't stand that because the first thing, when I walk into class, very first thing, 5 minutes before class, people just want to pick up their phones. And I'm like, there's a whole world around you.
Yeah.
There's so much to experience. There's a beauty of life. I've been in so many places around the world that I look at the beauty of the world and I say, look, I don't want this to be destroyed. And while we're distracted on these things, people can manipulate it and kind of do their own sinister bidding while we're not paying attention. So you need to be paying attention to the officials and the people that are supposed to be held accountable in our government. You need to be paying attention to what they're doing, and you need to make sure that they're holding your values, that they're maintaining that integrity in our political system, because it can go very, very badly.
Yeah. Okay, so before we do a deeper dive into Young Americans for Freedom than we already have, I want to talk a little bit about the things that are coming up at Marian, things that our students and faculty and staff even can get excited about attending. So the first thing I want to focus on is Halloween. So it's Halloween, we're leading up to the holiday, but we have some events that are geared both towards our Marian students and towards the little kids. So on October 29th, we have a trunk or treat for our students. So that'll be in the parking lot by the engineering building. So that is a time for Marian University students to go back to their childhood and trick or treat around different cars. So that'll be a fun event. And then the next day, October 30th, is a Wednesday, and that's when we have trick or treat for the community. So we'll see tons and tons of little kids all across campus in their costumes and trick-or-treating all throughout the residence halls and at different tables that'll be on campus. So those will be two really fun events to be at. My daughter Helen has requested that she dress up as Woody. So she wants to be Woody.
That's a great choice.
She's in a huge Toy Story phase right now. I asked her if she wanted to be Bo. Nope, no Bo. She wants to be Woody. And I said, that's amazing. So we're going to get her a cowboy hat and dress her up as Woody. So it's very exciting. And then November 1st is All Saints Day, and it is a holy day of obligation. And so we will have an all-campus mass that day. It's at 1 p.m. So classes are canceled and offices will close so that everyone has the ability to go to mass, which will be a really beautiful thing.
Wonderful.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to highlight is that our fall theater production is coming up. So we're doing a Doll's House, and students and faculty and staff get free tickets. So students can get one free ticket, faculty and staff can get two. So faculty and staff can bring a guest, and tickets are available now, so you can get those online. But everyone should go and check out A Doll's House at the theater.
In this economy, it's a pretty good deal, I would say.
It could even be advertised as A Doll's House is on the house.
Yes.
And so, didn't come from me. Holy Spirit.
Totally original.
Okay, let's do a deeper dive with Young Americans for Freedom, and we're talking about the election. We've already started there. It's coming up. It is next week. So let's talk about, we've talked a little bit about why it's important to vote, kind of why it's important to get out there, share your voice. And I'm curious, though, what you think students and faculty and staff should be doing in this time leading up to the election. What should they be, like, where should they be engaging? What should they be talking about? How should they prepare?
Well, one of the first things I would say before you take action, you need to ask a question. And a lot of people don't ask themselves the question of, what am I looking for? A lot of people have on this campus, because we're a Catholic university, a lot of people say that, oh, I want to grow up, I want to have a good life. Okay, you say to yourself, and I think pretty much everybody universally would like to have a good life.
Sure.
I mean, everybody that I've met. So I would say that, okay, you want to have a good life. Maybe you want to raise your children in a religious household. Maybe you have religious views that you believe should be manifested in the world. Maybe you're a Christian, maybe you're a Muslim, maybe you're a Jew on this campus. Whatever religion, whatever ethical practices that you have, whether you're religious or not, you need to really evaluate your views, what you believe should happen in the world. Because if you want to see the world become a better place. That better place is going to be ultimately the result of your actions, right? So you need to get out and ask yourself, what am I looking for? What do I see as the perfect world? Although we can't achieve a perfect world, unfortunately, in this life, but we can certainly try. So what am I looking for? And then I would say, okay, what views, what, I guess, political views, what ethical, what moral views do I have that align with that vision? And then I would say, okay, what candidate aligns most with that vision?
Mm-hmm.
That should be the process. And it has to be in that order. Because if you don't ask the question of what am I looking for, then you fall into the trap of that divisive kind of, I almost say manipulated and intentionally created division in our country where it's almost 50-50. I mean, you look at the national polls, the country's always 50-50. I wonder why that is. So you can almost see it as somewhat generated, and I think that it's very divisive. So I would say stay away from that. Ask questions. Ask questions from people that you don't even know. People you disagree with. That's huge.
Yeah.
Because you won't learn anything. I mean, Jordan Peterson's a famous psychologist. One of his rules for life in his first book, 12 Rules for Life, is assume the person you're talking to knows something that you don't. It's very important.
Yeah.
In any negotiation, in any conversation, you need to assume that. Even it may be true or it might not be true, but that openness is going to get us somewhere. So what they should be doing is asking themselves the question of what is their vision for the world? What is their vision for their lives? What political candidate is best going to produce that?
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And then it's well stated, Jacob, I usually give just a practical tip that's kind of the next step to help you get to that point where it actually becomes a lot easier when you get into the voting polls. Of course, we have these topics, these issues that are often discussed in the debates or in the media. There's usually a list of 10 or 12 that you would highly value. I generally give the recommendation, put those in a ranking list, like 1 to 10. There is something for you that you value most for that type of vision that you want to see and that you want to have represented in your senator or your representative, all right? Or whatever leader that you're going to be electing. There's usually a number 1, then a 2, then a 3. Just take the practical time to just write it down 1 through 10. Then what I tell students is that it actually makes it a lot easier for you because then when you go in and you think about it, take a step back, you'll usually have 2, perhaps 3 candidates going for that office. Usually they'll be on one side or other of the issue for these 10 to 12 that you've ranked. And even if a candidate, you see eye to eye with them on issues 2 through 10, but they don't meet up with your number 1 issue that you highly value the most, it's probably going to be a long 4 years for you with them in office.
Very true.
And so what I generally recommend, it makes it a lot easier. Find out what that number 1 value is for you, and then align that vote with the candidate that matches up with your number 1. If they both line up on the number 1, then you can go to number 2, number 3.
Sure.
And it makes voting a whole lot easier.
So are there things that Young Americans for Freedom are doing this semester or next semester that we should look forward to?
Yes, so next semester, yes, we're still in the making. It's very exciting. We're going to have several speakers next semester. We're planning on doing those and several screenings and events next semester. But this semester specifically, we've had 2 events. We had the 9/11 Memorial, and tonight we have a election direction kind of thing where we talk about the 2 candidates and basically where they sit politically on their policies. But in the coming weeks in this semester, we're going to have screenings of multiple movies. There's going to be 1 or 2 of those at the very least, and then we have several other gathering things. By the time the election is done, we will have our main focus on that, but right now we're really just focused on the election. And so with this week is going to be mainly just get out and vote. That's what YAF is going to be doing. That's what we're doing. We're going out and we're voting. We're getting active in the election. We're getting all the information. I think pretty much by now everybody's decided on who they're going to vote for, but that's what our main focus is right now. But after the election, the rest of the semester is going to be several screenings and informative things on certain political topics that are pretty hot in our society. So that's the big focus for this semester.
Nice. Anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I think we're good.
How would you encourage people to get out and vote?
I would tell them, I say, look, the country that you want is the country that you vote for. You're not voting for a savior. That's the biggest piece of advice that I can give to young voters and any voter in general. You're not voting for a savior. You're voting for a Band-Aid. The world's coming crashing down. Doesn't matter what we can do about it. There's very little we can do about it. There's too many rich, powerful people in the world, but we can certainly put a Band-Aid on it. So get out and vote and really work as unselfishly as you can. Build a life for yourself, build a life for your children, for your family, and build the best possible vision that you can. And your vote is going to reflect that, hopefully.
Cool.
We're really blessed. We live in a country where we have a lot of freedoms, but it's based on the type of government that we've been given from our founding fathers and the type of vision that they had for this country. And so it's very important to go out and vote, because during this time, you really can make a difference, right? We live in one country, right? We live in one country under God. We have this one vision that we want to carry forward to our children and our grandchildren. So all of us voting for that unified nation and one vision is an ideal we should be looking for. So please go out and vote.
Cool. Thank you. Well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you very much for having us. It was
Yes.
very exciting.
Thank you so much. God bless you.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Nightly Highlights. For the scoop on this story and more, check out the Nightly News, delivered to your inbox, 5 p.m. Sundays. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you very much for having us.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks.